I want to turn to the Inspector General's report about your private email server, which you said you set up for convenience. In an editorial out today, USA Today called this, quote, a threat to national security, one that she repeatedly ignored despite multiple warnings. And they added that you are now, quote, going to have to convince voters that she can put the national security of the United States above her own short-term self-interest. Do you see this as a challenge that you have to face to convince voters you'll put national security ahead of your own interests?
Well, I think that is obvious. I always have. And the report, just to go back to the actual report, makes it clear that personal email use was the practice under other secretaries of state, and that the rules that they are now referencing were not clarified until after I had left. But look, I've said many times it was still a mistake, and if I could go back, I would do it differently. And I understand people may have concerns about this, but I hope voters look at the full picture of everything I've done in my career and the full threat posed by a Donald Trump presidency. And if they do, I have faith in the American people that they will make the right choice here.
All right, that was Hillary on with Jake Tapper on CNN. So all the talk about, wow, they've got a libertarian candidate, Gary Johnson. Well, there's an exciting figure for you. I'm sure he's going to get a 0.5% of the vote with Bill Weld. Then you got, Bill Kristol might put forth David French. Oh, there's another big name for you that's probably going to take so many votes away from the Republicans. And, of course, Trump is controversial. Well, people aren't paying a lot of attention to Hillary Clinton. We're still awaiting the FBI investigation and the report over Hillary's email scandal. In spite of the way she spins this, it's just not true. Now, after promising that her top aides would cooperate with the Emailgate investigation, you had Cheryl Mills, one of her, top aides, and the attorneys involved, and also White House attorneys, stonewalling their way through an under oath deposition on Friday. We had the Inspector General report where, yes, former secretaries of state, they cooperated. Hillary Clinton didn't cooperate. Lawyers for Hillary Clinton aide Cheryl Mills, the State Department, and this group Judicial Watch were tangling last week as Mills was testifying at a deposition in a lawsuit related to Clinton's use of a private email server. And Mills's attorney kept objecting again and again and again and again to a variety of questions she claims intruded on Clinton's attorney-client privilege by asking about Mills' work for Clinton as a private lawyer after serving 4 years as Clinton's chief of staff at the State Department. Oh, great. So you just hire her as a lawyer. She can't be a witness at the same time. I object right now. I'm asking who represented Secretary Clinton. And then, of course, they tried to deal with the question of Brian Pagliano, the guy who set up the email server for Hillary Clinton in the mom and pop shop in a bathroom someplace, which we all know was, in fact, compromised. So you've got that happening. Then, of course, we have Hillary's speeches. She made $21 million in a 2-year period speaking to special interest groups, many that are involved in banking and Wall Street. You also have new questions about Hillary now stonewalling, answering questions about Goldman Sachs and an investment with her son-in-law and his hedge fund. You've got a California primary coming up for Hillary that she may lose to Bernie Sanders. We found out today Hillary only donated $70,000 to veterans. How dare she send veterans to go protest in front of Donald Trump's Trump Tower in New York? She has a long record of lying to keep the public in the dark. That's going to be a big problem in this campaign. You have Doug Schoen saying Hillary might not even be the nominee if Bernie wins California. That's a big issue. And she hasn't held a single press conference in 2016. And the only way she's going to win the nomination, and has been appearing to win the nomination, is through a corrupt superdelegate process for the Democrats. Anyway, joining us now to discuss this and more is Danielle McLaughlin. She's an attorney and a constitutional expert, co-wrote The Federalist Society, How Conservatives Took the Law Back from Liberals. Charlie Hurt is with us. He's a journalist, political commentator, working for the Washington Times. He's a columnist there, Fox News contributor, Breitbart News contributor. And welcome all of you to the program.
Good to be with you, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Danielle, you've actually read the entire deposition. Tell us what you found.
Well, you're right. There are a number of objections, as you rightly say. I read it and I pretty much thought that it was pretty not consequential in many respects. And I wanted to address your idea about the objections first. She was in the deposition, Cheryl Mills was in the deposition for a very circumscribed reason, which relates to FOIA and whether Clinton and any member of her team purposefully avoided FOIA by the use of the email server. And some of the questions that were directed to her were truly protected by the attorney-client privilege because Cheryl Mills was involved in collecting the emails that were turned over to the Department of State after Clinton left the State Department. So those are legitimate, perfectly legitimate objections to make.
Okay, understood. But we also had an Inspector General's report. Why didn't Hillary participate if she's so forthcoming as she claimed?
She's in a tough position, and I honestly, if I was her lawyer, which I'm not, I probably would have suggested that she did not talk to the OIG, and there's a simple reason for that. There is a criminal, we believe, investigation going on, and the focus of her counsel, the focus of Clinton, should be on that. This was an OIG Inspector General report within the state. It specifically looked only at the non-classified emails. It looked at practices and procedures. And certainly, the practices that we saw from her and her team were not appropriate. We saw that with her. We saw that with Secretary Powell.
So the bottom line is, even though she has contradicted herself, even though we know that, in fact, that system was compromised, even though we know all those things are true, Hillary lied to us repeatedly, just like she lied about Benghazi. So she's going to get off the hook. Now, let me ask you this. Isn't it her job and isn't it the law that she has to protect and preserve all classified information? And didn't we learn that she had special access program information on her computer which should not have been there?
I can't speak to the special access program. I can speak with a fair amount of complexity to the 30,000 emails that were sent over pursuant to the FBI's subpoena and the requirement that she send everything back.
Well, wait a minute. It should have been 60,000 emails, but she decided which ones were important, and she told us that 30,000 emails were related to yoga, a wedding, a funeral, and conversations with her husband, Bill. And then we found out Bill doesn't email, so she lied about that, too.
Well, the vast majority of her communications at state were verbal, were in meetings. We've learned a lot about the fact that she didn't use the email as frequently as she conducted these kinds of
Well, we do know that she had classified materials, and we do know that she sent out a memo to State Department employees not to use personal email for work. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And so she violated her own order.
You know, there were plenty of orders, there were plenty of rules that I think Secretary Clinton...
But there are also laws, and the law mandates that you have an obligation to protect and preserve all of these emails from any type of scrutiny. Isn't that true?
That is true, but the important thing is that a violation of that law, you have to show willfulness. You have to show willful and knowing
didn't she
behavior.
Wait a minute. Didn't she willfully set up a separate email account and a separate server? And didn't she put it separately on a different server account in a bathroom of a mom-and-pop shop? That shows a lot of thought went into it, doesn't it?
Well, it's not clear that she was doing it to get around FOIA laws or classified information.
Well, first thing she said, she never sent or received classified information. Then she adjusted that, sent or received marked classified information. But in fact, we learned from the Inspector General that she did have classified materials, top secret and above top secret classification on that computer with special access program classification, which is above top secret.
The 30,000 emails borne out did show that nothing she sent was either was marked.
That's not true. That is absolutely false. Charles Hurt.
I think this is absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure that your analysis, Danielle, is exactly right in terms of legal, the best legal advice for Hillary Clinton. But what I think is also interesting out of that deposition was not just the number of times that there were objections, but also the number of times that Cheryl Mills just simply said, "I don't remember." And, that's obviously, in a deposition like this, a pretty good way to hide anything you don't want to answer that you can't say objection to. You can just say, "I don't recall." And, it sort of raises more questions about what are they hiding, what are they trying to conceal. But the larger question here in my mind is, Hillary Clinton is running as the safe alternative to the risky, reckless Donald Trump. Well, my goodness, if this isn't risky and reckless, her handling of the highest secret in the land, then I don't know what is. And I think it really undermines her ability going into summer and going into fall, positioning herself as the responsible alternative to Donald Trump.
What's your response to that?
I mean, I agree that there are real problems here. Going back to your first point about not being able to remember, you have to remember that she was being asked about things that happened in 2009. And one of the biggest problems that you can have, and this is true for any kind of investigation, is if you don't remember, it's always better to say that you don't rather than to either fabricate something or state something that is actually not accurate. Cheryl Mills was under oath. She's a lawyer herself. She understands that oftentimes it's worth to say something you think is true rather than hold back, because often it is the lie that is worse, and that's what we saw with Petraeus, frankly. It wasn't so much about the classified information and what he did with it, it was the fact that he lied to federal prosecutors.
Sure, but the issue here to me is, the legal stuff is very important, and I'm glad that we're pursuing it. I wish the press would pursue it as doggedly as they pursue Donald Trump's donations to veteran groups. But the thing that, this is what we've always had with the Clintons going back decades, and, kicking off a campaign with it mired in depositions and objections and I don't remembers and all that kind of stuff is just, it's a terrible way. And then even now, she still hadn't clinched the nomination.
Danielle,
which one I'd rather be today? I would rather be Donald Trump.
Danielle, you sound to me like you would be a Hillary supporter. That's what you sound like. Am I wrong?
No, I am a Hillary Clinton supporter, and I agree with Charlie. Even as a supporter, there are problems here, and I wish that Clinton would be more forthcoming. I do wish that she would speak to the press more freely. I think that she is viewed as someone who is not trustworthy, as someone who is holding back from the general public.
You say
and I think that's a problem
but
for
here's
her.
what we also know. For example, let's take Benghazi. We knew that she was simultaneously telling the American public that this attack on our consulate in Benghazi was related to a YouTube video and it was a spontaneous demonstration. And the demonstrators just happened to have RPGs in their back pocket, and they just happened to pull them out and just happened to use them on the consul. But my question is, but didn't she lie? Because at the same time, we now know she was telling her own daughter, the Libyan president, the Egyptian prime minister, that it was an act of terror. Simultaneously, she's telling two very different stories. So we know she was lying to us, don't we? Isn't that a fact? And when you say you support her, you're telling me that you support somebody that you know is a liar. And that question, then that raises questions in my mind, why you're supporting a liar, somebody who the American people have rightly identified as dishonest and untrustworthy as president. I don't understand why you would do that.
Well, a couple of things, Sean. I do not identify Hillary Clinton as a liar. And after 12 hours of testimony before subcommittees on Benghazi, an enormous amount of email investigation, we have not found this so-called smoking gun. I think in the fog of war and the fog of this kind of an attack,
fog of war. How do you have a spontaneous demonstration where people pull out RPGs? Isn't that a little ridiculous to you?
Well, it's been shown that the video was not the reason, but my point being, at the time, I think it was reasonable.
But at the exact same time, she was told, they knew within minutes it was a terror attack. She had denied the repeated request for additional security. She gave a stand-down order, or the administration gave a stand-down order to the CIA complex people that were 2 miles away that wanted to help, and people in Tripoli that wanted to help, and people abroad that could have made it there to help. And then afterwards, she lied to the families, and they repeated the lie.
I find so appalling about that her statements immediately after that was, remember, at that time, nobody had heard of this internet movie. Nobody had seen this movie. It was being given the attention and treatment that it perhaps deserved. But as soon as she blamed that attack on the movie, it suddenly put that movie in bright lights, in Klieg lights, and the whole world then turned around and started watching the movie. And which then it was that at that point that people. Protesters around the globe really began outraged over the movie, started attacking American interests around the world. People were hurt, people were killed in those protests, and all of it stems back to Hillary Clinton's desire to save face or get out of trouble and lie and then cause this real mayhem.
But you know something, Charles? I'm just convinced if we had a video of Hillary Clinton shooting people, that there would be people that would defend her and say, well, she was going to give the money to the poor. That's how bad I think it. You have to go that deep pathologically to defend her level of dishonesty.
My point is this.
I don't have time. I got to go.
Facts about Benghazi. So show me the facts, and I will talk honestly about it. I try very hard to give credible views on all of these things.
I'm just telling you that that we know simultaneously she gave very different stories, and the timeline is clear. Anyway, but I appreciate your time, both of you.